The Secrets of Middle-earth is brought to you by the StarQuest Production Network and is made possible by our many generous patrons. If you'd like to support the podcast, please visit sqpn.com/give.
You're listening to The Secrets of Middle-earth. Eärendil was a mariner that tarried in Arvernian. He built a boat of timber felled in Nimberthil to journey in. Her sails he wove of silver fair, of silver were her lanterns made. Her prow he fashioned like a swan, and light upon her banners laid. In panoply of ancient kings, in chained rings he armored him. His shining shield was scored with runes, to ward all wounds and harm from him. His bow was made of dragon horn, his arrows shorn of ebony. Of silver was his habergeon, his scabbard of chalcedony. His sword of steel was valiant, of adamant his helmet tall, an eagle plume upon his crest, upon his breast an emerald. Beneath the moon and under star he wandered far from northern strands, bewildered on enchanted ways beyond the days of mortal lands. From gnashing of the narrow ice, where shadow lies on frozen hills, from nether heats and burning waste he turned in haste, and roving still on starless waters far astray, at last he came to night of naught, and passed, and never sight he saw of shining shore, nor light he sought. The winds of wrath came driving him, and blindly in the foam he fled. From west to east and Eärendil, unheralded he homeward sped. There flying Elwing came to him, and flame was in the darkness lit, more bright than light of diamond, the fire upon her carcanet. The Silmaril she bound on him, and crowned him with the living light, and dauntless then with burning brow he turned his prow, and in the night from other world beyond the sea, there strong and free a storm arose, a wind of power in Tarmanel. By paths that seldom mortal goes, his boat it bore with biting breath, as might of death across the grey and long-forsaken seas distressed. From east to west he passed away. Through ever night he back was borne, on black and roaring waves that ran o'er leagues unlit and foundered shores that drowned before the days began, until he heard on strands of pearl, where ends the world, the music long, wherever foaming billows roll, the yellow gold and jewels wan. He saw the mountain silent rise, where twilight lies upon the knees of Valinor, and Eldamar beheld afar beyond the seas. A wanderer escaped from night. To haven white he came at last, to Elvenhome the green and fair, where keen the air, where pale as glass beneath the hill of Ilmarin, a glimmer in a valley sheer, the lamplit towers of Tirion are mirrored on the Shadowmere. He tarried there from errantry, and melodies they taught to him, and sages old him marvels told, and harps of gold they brought to him. They clothed him then in elven white, and 7 lights before him sent, as through the Calakirian to hidden land forlorn he went. He came unto the timeless halls, where shining fall the countless years, and endless reigns the Elder King in Ilmarin on mountain sheer. And words unheard were spoken then of folk of men and elven kin. Beyond the world where vision showed, forbid to those that dwelt therein. A ship then new they built for him, of mithril and of elven glass, with shining prow, no shaven oar, nor sail she bore on silver mast. The Silmaril as lantern light, and banner bright with living flame, to gleam thereon by Elbereth herself was set, who thither came and wings immortal made for him, and laid on him undying doom, to sail the shoreless skies, and come behind the sun and light of moon. From Evereven's lofty halls, where softly silver fountains fall, his wings him bore a wandering light beyond the mighty mountain wall. From world's end then he turned away, and yearned again to find afar his home through shadows journeying, and burning as an island star on high, above the mists he came, a distant flame before the sun, a wonder ere the waking dawn, where grey the Norland waters run. And over Middle-earth he passed, and heard at last the weeping sore of women and of elven maids in elder days, in years of yore. But on him mighty doom was laid, till moon should fade and orbed star, to pass and tarry nevermore on hither shores where mortals are. Forever still a herald on an errand that should never rest, to bear his shining lamp afar, the Flammifer of Westernest. Welcome to the Secrets of Middle-earth, where we discuss the hidden themes and deeper layers found in the works of J.R.R. Tolkien, whether in his writings or in any of the media derived from them. And tonight we are talking about Eärendil and the War of Wrath. I'm Thomas Salerno, and joining me tonight are Patrick Mason. Hello, Pat.
Well met, Thomas.
Well met indeed. And Jeff Haecker. Hello, Jeff.
Hey, Thomas.
And Rob Leonardi. Welcome, Rob.
Howdy. I don't know why Pat always steals my welcome. Every time.
I swear I'm not trying. I swear, I promise I can't mind read.
It has been foretold in the dooms of Mandos that Pat shall always steal.
The Doom of Rob.
But be sure to follow The Secrets of Middle-earth in Apple Podcasts, YouTube Music, Spotify, or any podcast directory or app. You can find us on social media. We are on Facebook at facebook.com/StarQuestMedia, on X, where we are at SQPN, and Instagram, where we are at StarQuest Network. And don't forget about our official Secrets of Middle-earth merch, including our awesome t-shirt that you can find on SQPN.com/merch. It's a great way for you to support the show and to show your love for J.R.R. Tolkien and his wonderful world of Middle-earth. But now I have to catch my breath. So, Jeff, if you would very kindly read the news for us.
Sure, yeah. So the hard-hitting news journalism of this podcast.
Yes.
Yeah, the only things I saw that were, one was a news item, one was just something I saw online, that they Rings of Power released a teaser talking about in the middle of production of things they're doing, and they had a pretty nice tease of Narsil, of some of the production folks kind of carrying around Narsil and on a beach in a storm, kind of, or gray overcast. So they're teasing it, and I think it's awesome because the Numenor stuff is my favorite part of the show, to be honest. And I'm going to make the prediction now. So I'm calling my shot for like 10 years when this series is ending. But in season 4, I think it'll end with Eärendil making the oath and singing the song that Aragorn sings at the end of Return of the King. I think it'll end with, because if season 4 is the Akalabeth, that would make sense to end there. So, anyway, I'm just making that prediction now.
Spoilers, Jeff.
Yeah, spoilers. And the only other thing I saw, and I just noticed this when I was browsing Amazon on a non-Prime account, that the Rings of Power season 1 is free to watch on Amazon. So you don't have to subscribe to Prime in order to watch it. So if you just have an Amazon account, you can sign into Prime Video and watch season 1. So there's some free Doom for all without having to pay for. You just have to watch the ads. So if you've not seen season 1, now's a chance to watch it for free. So
did you see if there's a time limit on that, or if it's
I have no idea. I just saw it was currently free. Amazon, I think, will do that when they're after a couple seasons, they'll put the first season on there for free to, I guess, get people interested in watching it. So but season 2 is not free, but season 1 is. So, and I've been contemplating rewatching season 2 because it's been about a year. So
they should put a tag on season 1 that says, like, just get through the first 2 episodes. We promise it's better after that. Anyway,
get through the Harfoots and you'll be fine.
Yeah. So, my cold open was a poem that Bilbo wrote in The Lord of the Rings. It's in the Fellowship of the Ring, Book 2, Chapter 1, Many Meetings. When Bilbo and Frodo are hanging out with Gandalf and Elrond, a bunch of other people at Rivendell in the Hall of Fire, where people make poetry and song. Bilbo has come up with this song about Eärendil, which he tries to get Aragorn to help him out with, but Aragorn's like, you know, if you're gonna write a poem about Elrond's absent dad, you can do that yourself.
Yeah, it's like I'm out on this one. I don't need any more.
I don't need any more, you know, problems with Elrond. Like apparently Aragorn does add one single line to the poem, and that is upon his breast an emerald, because of the green stone that Aragorn wields later as like a sign that he is the true king. So he adds that, but other than that, he won't add anything to Bilbo's work. Although Bilbo then tries to get the elves to figure out how much of it was written by him, and in which the elves actually say a hilarious line, like they're like, "We don't know," and Bilbo's like, "What? But you can't tell the difference between what a hobbit wrote and what a man wrote." And the elves are like, "Well, sure, to sheep, other sheep appear different." And I'm like, "You've got to be kidding me!
You mortals all look the same.
You all write the same too." But it's like, wow, okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, some of the imagery in that poem will probably become clearer as we go along here. We
restart the episode now to go re-listen to it.
To re-listen to it. Yeah, see, it gives this episode re-listenability. There we go. Yeah. Yeah, but when we left off last time on the Silmarillion, Tuor and the exiles of Gondolin have merged with Elwing's people at the mouths of Sirion to kind of form one united people. But Morgoth is pretty certain that he's going to become master of all of Middle-earth. But we finally, it's taken us this long in the Silmarillion to finally get to the birth of Elrond and Elros, who will play such a part, you know, throughout the rest of the history of Middle-earth.
Well, one of them will.
Well, no, they both will. Elros through his descendants, I would suppose.
Very true. All right.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, but we finally have the half-elven twins. It's interesting. I don't know if you guys remember from The Hobbit, but there's even kind of an Easter egg sort of for this material in The Hobbit itself. When Tolkien introduces Elrond for the first time, he talks about how Elrond has this strange parentage where he has both elves and heroic men of the North as ancestors who fought in the first wars, and like it's just this throwaway line, but once you read the Silmarillion, you'll never read that part of The Hobbit the same way again.
I mean, that's true for any, you know, reading The Hobbit or Lord of the Rings after the Silmarillion. Is there's so much here that you'll, like, if it's your first time reading the Silm and then you read The Hobbit and Lord of the Rings, you're just doing the Leo point the whole time. Like, you know, I understood that reference.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. That was my daughter. So when we first read through The Hobbit, she caught on a couple of times. She was like, "What are they talking about here?" And I'm like, "Oh, an ancient battle that happened a long time ago." And she's like, "Are there other books about that?" I'm like, "Yes, there are."
Good, yeah.
Yeah.
You can get Back to the Future, but you're not ready for that.
We don't need roads. Wait, what?
Well, no, we don't, because you have to find the straight road that goes to Valinor. So
you have to have a hyperdrive to.
Yep.
But that's really what, you know, Eärendil is all about finding in this chapter. But first, he's not even going to bring the Silmaril to the Valar. At first, he just wants to find his dad. See, I sense a pattern here. Because Tuor, as we mentioned last time, has sort of gone off with Eärendil, his wife, and they've not been seen by their family ever again, because Tuor is now numbered among the elves. And so Eärendil goes to seek out his father and possibly find Valinor. And to do this, He builds the Millennium Falcon. I mean Vingalot. Sorry, yeah, Vingalot, yeah.
The Vingalodian Falcon.
Falcon, yes, yeah. Probably the coolest ship in the Legendarium, though. Definitely.
Yeah. So that makes the 3 Mariners with them, like Han Solo and Chewbacca and Lando.
Lando, maybe? Yeah.
Probably.
Yeah. So yeah, but with Eärendil gone, seeking out his father, events quickly escalate, and we get to the 3rd kinslaying.
Yeah.
Another one.
Yeah,
Because there's not enough.
right.
This time it's personal.
This time is personal. Yeah. Although what's interesting is that this time, not everybody in the Feanorian camp is on board with what they're doing. And there's actually some strife where some people who are fighting for the Sons of Feanor, the few that are left, go over to Elwing's side and try to defend the people of the Havens. And finally, only Maedhros and Maglor are left of the brothers. We've seen them slowly winnowed out so far.
Yeah. Well, and it's, you have, of course, because it's all 3s, right? So you have the 3rd kinslaying, and you have, the first one where Feanor, kind of goes into it, full Feanorian gusto, and everybody else is sort of with him. And then the second one in Doriath, it's sort of this, not quite half-hearted, but you can tell, I think, from the material, Maglor is kind of done with this, and Maedhros is sort of going along with it, but they still have the Sea Brothers with them. Doriath. And by the time they get to this one, it's very clear how the book puts it. Like, they don't want to do this. Like, they're just, like, they're tired of it. They're burdened by it. They hate this oath, but they feel like they have to do it. And especially Maedhros feels compelled to go along. And it's a very sad tale, because you see the fall of Maedhros slowly over the course of the Silmarillion, right? He starts as this almost unwitting accomplice to his father's deeds. First in the kinslaying, where he tries to talk his dad out of it, and then in the burning of the ships, again, where he's like, "What are we doing?" Yeah,
Right. Yeah.
And then reuniting with the rest of the Noldor after the fact, after his buddy cuts him down from being chained up on Thangarodrim, all the way down slowly over time to what we have here, which is the, in Doriath, which is the killing of the children, and then in this, which is the yet again kinslaying, doing Morgoth's work for him. And it's kind of like, Maedhros.
He seems to though remember the killing of Dior's sons, because this time he spares Eärendil and Elwing's sons.
Yeah.
It's kind of
go ahead, Rob.
Very poetic how, like, the 2 brothers are doing this horrible action, then see these twin brothers, and the one that's been not the one that, the one that's been kind of, we still got to do it, is the one that takes them in and raises them up, essentially. Right. And then, I don't know, I find that kind of poetic. Like, it's the really bad guys raising the future of Middle Earth.
Right. Yeah. The future heroes being raised by people who aren't necessarily on the side of the angels or on the side of the Valar at this point.
They at least can see what, I guess they hit rock bottom. They can only go up from here.
Well, you'd think so, but
hold that thought.
There's another bottom that we haven't gotten to yet.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that is interesting that that Maglor does, shelter them and come to care for them, and it's not quite a redemption, but it's probably as good as he can get. Is as close as he can come to any kind of redemption, as we'll see. So yeah, but that was interesting. And, part of me is wondering, could this be something we see in a flashback in Rings of Power down the road? Like,
it's been referenced once already.
Oh, was
too.
it?
Yeah, but it's also kind of dumb because like Galadriel says she was there at the third kinslaying and like gives young Elrond a drink of water when remember they have that conversation. Yeah. And I'm like, what on earth was Galadriel doing there?
Yeah.
At the third kinslaying doesn't make any sense, but never mind.
But no, they when they went into the library at I forgot the specific name of it, but on Numenor, there was a whole picture of Elros, and it was kind of like there's something here.
Well, yeah, she said like she knew the two brothers, and
so something like I've always been closer to his brother or something.
Right, yeah, to Elrond.
In the Library of Easter Eggs.
Library of Easter Eggs, yeah. I wonder if people would rate it higher than Wan Shi Tong's library, but that's a separate franchise. So, but in any case, Elwing casts herself into the sea, and Olmo transforms her into the bird. So we get the first part of what our friend Caitlin Fascista used to say about Elrond. His dad's a star, his mom's a bird. So
Animorphs.
Oh gosh. That's a blast from the past.
Or Power Rangers. It's morphin' time.
Oh, yeah.
I think I read that in one of the unfinished stories.
Elwing gets the Seabird Megazord, I guess.
No, it's morphin' time. So that makes Olmo like the guy that watches over the Power Rangers.
Zordon.
Zordon, yeah.
Kind of sounds
I
like
could
Olmo.
see Olmo making his, because Zordon doesn't really like interfere. He kind of just sits there. So I could see Olmo forming his own Power Rangers to fight Morgoth.
Or what if, here's a crazy fan theory, what if Zordon is Olmo just in the far future?
Future. You're crossing the streams there, Jeff.
Zordon is Olmo.
Olmo is Zordon. Zordon is Olmo.
Ay. Now we're starting to get off the rails here, but
way off the tracks here.
But Elwing somehow it's not really explained, but she finds Eärendil when I think he's coming back from having not found Aman originally, and he's essentially being driven back by the winds to Middle Earth. But when Elwing casts herself into the sea, she has the Silmaril with her. So the Sons of Feanor don't even get the Silmaril that they're after. And so eventually, now that Eärendil has the Silmaril, it's almost like it's his like golden ticket from Willy Wonka. He can get into Valinor now that he has it, or like a way opens.
Yeah,
for him.
Yep. I always picture the scene in The Simpsons where they're lost at sea and suddenly Homer can smell the Krusty Burger through the fog. He directs them to the oil rig that has the Krusty Burger. That's I don't know. It's my generation. That's where I go. But yeah, all of a sudden he can pass through the Sea of Shadows and around all the rocks and all it can finally get to the shores of Valinor.
Yeah, and he at first like he has a crew with him, but he tells them, stay behind here, or because if Doom's gonna fall, I want it just to be on me, because because all he remember what he knows is that my dad tried to do this and never came back. So he's like, for all I know, you get struck by lightning when you try to do this. So, and he comes to Tirion upon Tuna, and the city is abandoned.
His wife refuses, right? Elwing is like, no, I'm not.
Yeah.
No, whatever fate falls you befalls me, buddy. We're doing this together.
Yep. What an honorable wife.
I've already become a bird at this point. What can happen to me?
I'll just fly away again.
I like the scene where he's kind of alone in Tyrion and he's kind of walking the deserted streets, because they say it's a time of festival, just like at the time when the two trees were destroyed. So everybody is in like Valmar, the city of the Valar. And so he's kind of walking around through these empty streets, and suddenly somebody appears to talk to him on a cliffside. And I like how they say it might have been Eonwë, the Herald of Manwë, but they never say like for sure 100%. I always thought that was neat.
Yeah, I always get this picture of like the Talari watching the ship come in and land and being like, "Are we gonna do something about this?" Nah.
Let's go party.
Yeah,
Well,
let's go party.
Well, and not only that, but what was the last festival that we literally just read about last chapter, and then Gondolin fell.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
At a time of festival. Yeah.
So it's like, what in the world's happening here?
Yeah,
Everything's deserted.
that's his worry, right? He's worried that something terrible happened here too. Like,
What did my
everybody-
dad do? Like,
Yeah.
And I like that they say he's there to deliver the message of mercy for the two kindreds. So in order to do this, he has to be able to, like, essentially legally represent by proxy both elves and men. And and maybe this is a bit of a stretch, but it reminds me of when I've heard it explained why Jesus Christ has to be both God and man.
mhm.
Because if he's not both, then we're not saved, period.
Right.
You
Yep.
know,
Because
If he's-
in order
yeah.
for an infinite offense against an infinite God to be made right, you need an infinite being to make it right. And since we are finite, we can't do that.
right. But he also needs to be man because
We have to
man
do it on
committed
our
the
behalf.
offense. Right. Yeah. So it's like, like that, it's like Eärendil has to be both. You know, he has the blood of both elves and men running through his veins. So the point where later I think it's Olmo is like, so is he elf or is he man? Who, you know, like who can say really? But
Yeah.
um,
Well, and I'll also say it's important for the same reason, Jesus Christ being both God and man is important for us as men, not simply because it has to be offered for the offense that's a very important part of it, but for the other part of it where the loving action of taking on the suffering place, right? Being able
Right.
to stand with us and say, yeah, I've also been there, whatever you're going through, and I've been there as well. Like, because Eärendil's like been through it, right? His family, disappeared. His city he was born in has been destroyed. He's suffered through a kinslaying. Like he's got all of the bad, terrible that's happened to the men and all the bad, terrible that's happened to the elves kind of on his shoulder, and still seeking, the mercy of the Valar.
and he's also got the divine strain of the Ainur via Luthien, because her mother Melian was the Maiar.
Yeah.
So that almost gives him a right to like speak before the Valar, because he's like, hey, I've got, kind of a bit of the ancestry of your own kind here.
Yeah, you'd think he could just say, "Grandma, Grandma."
Yeah. Wait a minute. He doesn't have. Elwing does, right? Because she's Dior's kid.
Oh, of course. Yeah, I'm thinking of their sons,
Yeah.
Elrond and Elros. That's right.
Oh, it's true.
That's true.
So he should have said
Grandma-in-law,
Elwing.
grandma-in-law. I fixed it.
I'm related by marriage to the Valar.
That's right.
There you
That's
go.
right. We're all part of the same family. That's how marriage works.
We are one flesh. There we go.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But yeah, I like how Mandos objects to this whole proceeding. He's like, because, he's like, well, men aren't allowed to come here and the Noldor are banned. so it doesn't matter.
You're the worst of both.
Yeah.
Mortal and Noldor.
Yeah.
And I feel like he's not being a curmudgeon. I feel like he just felt the need to point it out, like.
Well, it could be too that he was saying, like, he was kind of providing like the justification of like, oh, we can't have the mortal in the Noldor here, but if you make him not a mortal, like it's almost kind of like opening that pathway up to like where he's holding the Robin's rules of order and making sure that all proceedings are followed as so
right.
Like that
but
scene, oh shoot, what is it? One of the Pirates of the Caribbean movies where they're talking about the pirates' law.
Yeah.
Like, well, it's really more of a guideline. And the guy gets shot, and the guy with the book comes out and slams it on the table, and it's like, it's the law.
I was thinking of like Mandos as like Phoenix Wright, objection, But as I mentioned in the poem earlier, they create an upgraded version of Vingalot, his ship. And it he gets to carry the Silmaril in the heavens forever, and I'm like,
and he put it on his head.
Yeah, they bind it on his brow, right? So he becomes.
Doesn't Elwing do that earlier? Like when he's going on to like when he's stepping on the shore, that's what she does. She binds it to his brow. So
no, he's got it on the ship. When they're
right, but okay,
and he's sort of like lighthousing himself,
right? Yeah,
yeah. She's the one who binds it on him. So.
Yeah,
which is interesting because that's what where does Morgoth wear his Silmarils? On his crown, so
on
it's
his brow. Yeah.
So it's interesting that you have the most powerful thing carrying two Silmarils on his brow, and you have the what's starting out as the least powerful until he gets, until he gets his class upgrade, carrying the Silmaril. So,
yeah, he decides, even though he would prefer to be with the Edain, he chooses to be with his wife's people and to be numbered among the Eldar.
Yeah.
But I mean, yeah, being functionally immortal will be important for his job to be a star forever in the heavens.
Yeah.
Gil Estel, the Star of Hope. And that just makes me think of like Aragorn, because Estel, Hope, was the name he was fostered under in Rivendell.
Yeah, and one thing that's cool about that is, Sam later in Lord of the Rings carries the Phial of Galadriel, which has the light of, the light of the Silmaril, and he uses it against the spawn of Ungoliant, who destroyed the trees. So I'm not claiming credit for that. I saw that online recently.
Right.
I thought that was really cool that they, it's like poetry, it rhymes, It has, but I mean, it does make, it's poetic justice that the lights do get, their justice against, the spawn of the one who destroyed them. So
I do wonder what happens to the three mariners. Because it just
says
they were put on a small dinghy and sent into the east, and I'm like, and are drowned?
No.
What happened?
I mean, someone
here?
had to take this story back to everyone and Bilbo and everything.
Mm-hmm.
You always have to leave at least one survivor to tell the story.
Well, yeah, and I don't think it's made clear necessarily in this section, but doesn't this process, like this whole part of the story, isn't it over the course of like 40 years or something like that?
Him sailing around. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I couldn't remember exactly. I just remembered that it was a pretty long period of time. So I couldn't remember where the 40 years came from. Like, if that was after he was, he was made a Silmaril bearer in the heavens or what. So
where is that information at?
I couldn't tell you offhand. I think I've read it. It might be in the appendices of Lord of the Rings, or it might be somewhere. I know I've read that and seen that. I don't know offhand where. I think I've read like timelines of like or like chronologies and things.
Oh yeah, a lot of that in the appendices.
Yeah,
and then Maedhros and Maglor behold the first uprising of the star Eärendil and recognize that it's a Silmaril. And Maglor's like, well, nothing we can do about it now.
I'm going to take the win on this. We'll just take the win. We'll just say it's good. we don't have to try and get that one back. We're fine. Everything's fine here. How are you?
Morgoth also sees it and is a little bit dismayed.
I feel like anytime Morgoth or any servant of Morgoth sees something, some rise in the sky, they should instantly think, oh, we're boned.
Yeah, especially if it rises in the west. Yeah.
We're doomed.
It's actually really kind of cool that Maglor is able to recognize, oh, hey, not only is that a Silmaril, but, let us be glad, for its glory is seen now by many, and it is yet secure from all evil. Right? And so it's like, okay, he's actually, maybe there's some good. But
we don't have to carry out the oath anymore, right? It's like,
I hold your oath fulfilled. And I was looking it up just to go back to the 40 years from. It looks like the war itself took 40 years from.
The War of Red. Yeah, that sounds familiar.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I don't know that it said that in the text, but I think it probably is from appendices or something like that. So
I liked that. Despite so Morgoth sees the uprising of the star, like he doesn't know what it means, but he knows it can't mean anything good. But he doesn't seem to. It doesn't get into his head that, oh, this means the Valar are going to come calling, because it says, for him that is pitiless, the deeds of pity are ever strange and beyond reckoning. And that kind of reminded me of how Sauron never, gets it into his head that the Fellowship would want to destroy the ring. Because he's like, well, that's not what I would do. So it's Morgoth, like the same thing. He's like, I wouldn't help the Noldor. So why should anybody help them? And so like he doesn't understand that the Valar are acting out of pity, that no, that the Noldor don't technically deserve to be rescued because they have not repented yet. But the Valar are going to do it anyway as an act of pity.
Yeah, and we touched on it a little bit, but Eärendil's he said, I don't want doom to fall upon anyone. Like he knew that there's a good chance he could die by stepping on the shores of Aman. So he knew that going in, that his life, is forfeit basically, and it's up to the Valar to, grant him pardon from that. So, and they do, of course, but yeah, Morgoth just doesn't have that in his mind that someone would be so selfless and do something like that, because it's just not who he is.
Yeah. And it says, for so great was his pride become that he deemed that none would ever again come with open war against him after he sees the Silmaril in the sky. And that was as Pat said, well, now the doom tables have turned.
I mean, because this is after Morgoth has put most of his power out into the various monsters that he's created. So he's really not even on the same level as the Valar anymore. And yet he's so consumed by pride, he's like, nothing can touch me. And I'm like, okay, man.
Yeah. Yeah, you finally won your 1,000-year war with a bunch of mortals. Go you. You used to shape the entire world, but now.
Right.
Yeah.
Now he just gets, it takes 40 years, but he just gets curb stomped in the end. It is not pretty. You have the host of the West, so the Vanyar elves, some of the loyal Noldor. You've got the Teleri will man the ships, but they won't do anything else to help because they still remember the first kinslaying.
They do not want to set foot upon the land.
No, yeah. We have Eonwe and the Maiar, even the Edain are involved in this, so.
Yeah, I like what it says about how the orcs just fall like burned leaves in front of the Vanyar. Like that's such a poetic way to put like just cut down. Like,
Yeah.
almost to a man, but not quite.
Yeah, and we actually see the Vanyar. I forgot they actually do something here. Instead
Yeah.
Instead of just hanging out and, at
And
the feet of
singing.
Valar and singing songs, they actually do something and fight. And yeah, this whole section, just in my mind, I was like, this would be such a cool anime movie or something like.
Or like an animated music video for like a metal album or something would be really awesome.
Well, and so it takes 40 years, and you got to think about that. Like, this was an extended campaign, basically through the whole of Beleriand. And like the way it's typically portrayed in maps and stuff, it's just like one frontal assault all the way to Thangorodrim. And I'm like, that's apparently not how it went. Like, this was a full blown, from all sides, kind of a purge deal. We're going to get rid of Morgoth and all of his evil.
It's like if you've seen maps of like the final crushing of Nazi Germany, where it's just like being pressed like between both sides, between the hammer and the anvil of like the Western Allies and then the Red Army. And it's like it's just ground into dust, like that's kind of what I imagine this as. Like this is just the slow, inexorable, and the Balrogs are mostly destroyed. I like that it mentions that, a few of them may have gone into hiding. I'm like, aha, there's Durin's Bane.
The deep dark holes that you can't get to.
Did you guys have a favorite part of this? Like a favorite moment in the War of Wrath?
I liked but Eärendil came, shining with white flame, and about Vingalat were gathered all the great birds of heaven, and Thorndor was their captain, and there was battle in the air all the day and through a dark night of doubt.
Yeah, I mean the whole section of like the fighting dragons in the ship, like you said.
Yeah,
that's it's so metal and so cool. And like I said, I would love to see that. And we saw like a little bit. I think we saw a representation of this in the Rings of Power prologue, but we don't see. I don't think we see a ship. It's just off screen. Nope. You can't see it.
Yeah, that's not a frame.
So yeah, you see dragons and other flying things, and you see the big battle between the elves and the orcs and everything. But
yeah, like there was marshaled the whole power of the throne of Morgoth, and it had become great beyond count, so that Anfoglith could not contain it, and all the north was aflame with war. Such an awesome image.
Yeah,
you have the whole plain of dust is aflame with war, and the orcs are being scattered like a burning wind.
I think my favorite moment, and I don't have the Silmarillion on me, but maybe Rob, if you can find it, the part where Calagon the Black, the greatest of the dragons, is smote upon the mountainside.
Yeah, it's
Before the rising of the sun, Eärendil slew I can't say that word.
And Calagon?
And Calagon, the Black, the mightiest of the dragon host, and cast him from the sky. And he fell upon the towers of Thangorodrim, and they were broken in his ruin.
That is like having something fall on Mount Everest and Mount Everest crumble into dust, because Thangorodrim is the highest mountain in Middle Earth.
Yeah.
That's insane. Yeah. So how big is this dragon?
Yeah. Well, I just imagine the ship flying around, and either has like a giant spear at the prow, or it's the prow that he uses to drive into the heart of Encalagon, or something like that. And just
like the ending of The Little Mermaid.
It's like a
the prow of the ship.
I mean,
the ending of The Little Mermaid and the ending of Sleeping Beauty, right? Like you have this sort of combination.
Yes, where he throws the sword right into Maleficent's heart, right? Yeah.
If someone wants to make that mashup and put it out there, I would
say that'd be pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I don't think it says if he has like a sword or if he has, it's a bow and arrow or something. So
again, we're surprisingly light on details in some of these sections. Yeah.
It's Alagon is and Calagon is almost like this, side mention. Oh yeah, and then Calagon the Black dies, and then you're like, who was that? Why don't we have more about him?
It crushes a mountain, and
there is a there is a Leo point moment in the Fellowship of the Ring because he's named, and Calagon is name dropped very early in the Fellowship of the Ring.
Yeah,
where Gandalf is talking to Frodo about is there any way at all to possibly destroy the ring? And he's like, well, dragon fire could maybe consume a lesser ring of power. He's like, but not even Calagon the Black could destroy the One Ring.
Now, my question is, were all of these dragons like their own creation, or did they come from like Glaurung, and like these are spawn of Glaurung?
That's a good question, actually.
So it kind of doesn't seem to be that way, because Glaurung spawn seem to be involved in the war on Gondolin, and then the winged dragons seem to be a whole other thing,
like a new creation.
Yeah, like because they'd never been seen before. I think it says they're unleashed, but nobody had ever seen these before. The Morgoth was just holding them back. But again, I don't know.
It could be like an alchemy kind of situation, like I've got these dragons, and let's do some dark alchemy to them and give them a Red Bull or something and give them names.
Yeah,
I want to make evil.
Alakagong is just like a clone of Glaurung, just a little baby form.
Yeah. So yeah, Morgoth is hounded out of his lair. He gets his feet hewed out from under him. So he gets his feet. Does it say who does that? I can't remember.
It does not. In my mind, it's always Tulkas.
Yeah, it's Tulkas.
I was thinking about this the other day, but it says earlier in the Silmarillion that Tulkas doesn't use weapons.
Right, he wrestles
just his bare hands. So I'm thinking maybe it was a dual thing between.
Just rip his legs off.
Right, or maybe it was Tulkas and Orome.
Orome.
Well,
like Tulkas holds him down and Orome cuts his feet off.
Guess where you're going? Nowhere. That's where you're going.
I guess I thought of it as more of an expression, like his feet are like, because getting your feet cut out from under you is an expression. So, but
that's true. Yeah,
for the most part, it doesn't mean your feet are getting chopped off. It means your legs were taken out. So that's what I kind of imagined. It was,
and it says he was thrown upon his face, so he is He's completely humiliated.
Yep.
Yeah.
And bound with a great chain, and they beat the iron crown as a collar for his neck. You hear that, Rings of Power writers? That is what happened to the crown.
You mean it wasn't just given to Sauron?
Well, but we know Sauron lies, so maybe he just maybe it was just like, oh, I found this crown here in the.
Although I do have to admit, I do like Adar's line where he's like, many tales were told after the Silmarils were pried from its settings, and I'm like, okay. That's a cool line, but still, that's not what happened to it. And so the final two Silmarils are recovered, but as we sort of mentioned earlier, the two brothers have not hit rock bottom yet.
Just can't leave well enough alone.
Yeah. Oh, but before we get to that,
you almost had it.
You almost had it, yeah. But Pat, you mentioned how like this is like a 40-year long like campaign through the whole Balerion, and Balerion gets pretty much destroyed. This continent is nowhere in existence in the later writings except for a few small islands that remain.
Well, that's what happens when you destroy Mount Everest. Everything else just goes under.
Yeah.
Tol Morwen and the I don't know what it would be, the Island of the Spiders.
Oh yeah,
which is probably a good thing.
Yeah,
they're all on an island. Yeah, keep them on an island somewhere. I'm good with that. Yeah.
The rest of them are over there.
But yeah, Maedhros and Maglor attempt to seize the Silmarils. Eonwe has them in like a war chest, and they sneak into the camp. Yeah. And they sneak into the camp, and Eonwe actually lets them go. He's like, I don't want them slain.
Yeah. Well, I like how he talks to them beforehand. He's like, look, guys, I get it. You want these things, and you think you're bound by this oath, but no.
Right. He says, like, any claim you had to your father's work is null now because of how many people have labored in getting them back. You know,
all the terrible things you've done to all the people across the ages now, and now your claim is gone. And then Maglor tries to reason with Maedhros. He's like, maybe he's right. Maybe we just go back to Valinor. We take our licks. We hang out there. Maybe we even get him back. Like, we fulfill the oath. All's good.
But and then I like
him from time to time, maybe.
Yeah. But then Maedhros is like, but then he's like, the temptation would be too great. And what would happen if we stay in the land of Valinor with murder again? Yeah. Trying to get them back. So it is it's a really fascinating debate.
I think that also kind of goes back to, the sin against the Holy Spirit, right? The idea of you're not going to ask for forgiveness, so you're not going to be forgiven. Right? Like, they are refusing to ask for forgiveness. They're let's just go and keep dooming ourselves. Yeah. And it's sort of like one is like, well, it's just going to end up even worse. And the other is like, but maybe.
Yeah. Well,
Maedhros refuses to have hope at this point.
And they talk about, like, well, the people we swore the oath on aren't even acknowledging the oath. Like, they're saying it's no good anymore. So,
right,
is it really good? And I just is like, yeah, but they're not the only ones we swore the oath on. And I'm like, no, you're doing this the wrong way. This is the whole pride, conquers reason. Like, no, that's not. Like, I always find it interesting. We have there's a prohibition against using substances that would cloud your reason, right? And so, no alcohol, no drugs, not no alcohol, but alcohol, so it doesn't cloud your reason. But then there's other things that cloud your reason too, and pride is one of the main ones, right? Thinking with pride instead of thinking through things logically is a sin against your God-given reason. And that's what we see on like full display here. It's like, I'm not going to think this through actually logically. Like Maglor's trying really hard, and Maedhros is like, no, I'm not going to do it. We got to do this thing. We got to follow the oath. And I'm like, you're just like Dad.
Yeah. He's become his father in a lot of ways. And in that sort of in that final moment, which should have shown him the oath is void, he's burned by the Silmaril. Because if you guys remember way back when the Silmarils were first introduced, any evil flesh that touches them becomes burned.
Yeah.
And so, Maedhros being burned by the jewel, and instead of him going, oh my gosh, like you're saying, Rob, I need to seek pardon, I need to seek forgiveness, he despairs finally and throws himself into a pit of lava. With the Silmaril. Maglor casts his into the ocean, and I like how it says he wanders the shores of the sea forever in regret. And I'm like, oh.
Yeah.
Singing in pain, and for he was mighty among the singers of old.
And I wonder if he's still doing that in like the Third Age. Like, there's a lot of empty shoreline on Middle Earth that he could.
It does say forever, so he's still out there somewhere.
Out there somewhere.
Is that like the Mark of Cain?
Yeah.
Right, yeah. So yeah, and that is how we kind of get the fates of the three Silmarils as air, earth, and water, because you have Eärendil's in the air, is in the heavens as a star. Maedhros casts his and himself into the earth when he jumps into that fiery chasm, and Maglor throws his into the ocean. And that will come up again later because the 3 elven rings are almost made as like images of the Silmarils because they're called the rings of air, earth, and water.
Yeah. And then
No
the fire
fire.
was attacked.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah.
No fire. Sorry, Zuko.
Sorry.
Yeah. Sorry.
He would be angry about it.
Yeah.
Why don't I have a ring?
Oh my gosh. Yeah, they knew it was an unstable element, so they didn't want to use it.
Well, and you think about like the Valar themselves kind of split out into those groups, you know, the earth and the air and the ocean or the water, right? And we kind of have them, but most of the fire ones went bad. They went along with Morgoth.
Right, become Balrogs. Yeah.
And became Balrogs. You know,
The only one who stays with the Valar is the sun.
the sun. Yeah.
Yeah.
She's awesome.
Yeah.
Best Maiar.
So many Noldor, they decide to depart to Valinor, but others decide to remain in Middle-earth, and these are some big names who are staying behind. So Círdan, who's one of the oldest elves, period,
Yeah.
he's going to stay even into the Fourth Age.
Yeah.
In-
He's the
in
last
Middle-earth.
one.
So,
To leave,
yeah.
Last one on the chopper out of Nam.
Yeah.
Just figured by this point, he's like, how much longer could it be?
Oh, poor Círdan. He better have a lot of Shillette, as we've said, for that beard grooming.
Well, I mean, he's not shaving anymore. He's growing the beard, and
Yeah.
I mean, he's like, I got an idea for a ship that'll keep me busy.
Well, at least
Yeah.
until the Rings of Power when he gets the ring.
And then he shaves it off.
Yeah. But he'll grow it back. It's fine.
So Gil-galad's staying behind as the High King of the Noldor for the next age of the world, basically the Second Age. Celeborn and Galadriel are staying behind, and of course Elrond.
Yeah, he chooses. Well, in Elros and Elrond, they're kind of given the option to choose which kindred they want to be a part of, and as we know, Elrond chooses the elves, and Elros chooses the doom of men.
The Doom of Men. Yeah.
Well, and it's the, Eärendil and Ewing. Ewing. Star Wars. I had to bring that into this. Elwing get that option too, right? And they both choose the elder children. But then we see that play out with Elrond's children, right? They get the choice as well, which is not, interestingly enough, not what Elrond's brother's children get. I don't think. But I would be curious to see.
Yeah.
What the thoughts are on that, if they had a choice as well, or if any of the, how far away from Elwing and Eärendil do you have to be before you lose your choice?
Yeah.
Because it's only one of Elrond's children that chooses mortality.
That we know of, because I've heard theories that his sons also stay in Middle Earth because they're good friends with Aragorn as well, so they could have chosen to be counted among men.
That's true.
Because they're not on the ship that Elrond leaves on. So
No, and and I don't think they leave with Círdan and Celeborn either.
Yeah,
the brothers. So,
and that's the last ship that we know of. So, I mean, they could have gone in between those two, but
they could have. They could have also faded, where their bodies kind of get consumed by their spirits. But I don't think they would choose that.
No, yeah, I think they would have stayed behind and been part of their sister's life and their nephew's life. So.
Well, apparently Tolkien at one point noted that they were allowed to delay their choice of fate. And so he never actually concluded with what they ended up
choosing. Yeah.
Saved it for a sequel that he never wrote.
I mean, we could do a whole episode just on Elrond's family because there's a lot of fascinating stuff there.
Yeah.
Yeah. But Morgoth gets thrust beyond the doors of night into the timeless void. That sounds like fun.
Yeah.
He does not get a choice.
No, yeah.
It's made for him.
Yep.
Yeah.
Thrust out of creation, basically.
Which is a nice sort of circle back to the Eärendil, because it talks there about him constantly hunting in the timeless void because he thinks he'll find the flame imperishable there.
Yeah.
But of course, the flame imperishable is with Iluvatar.
Yeah. Well, he's not doing any hunting anymore. He can't walk away anywhere.
He can't walk. Yeah.
It's floating in the void now.
I'm thinking of the old Superman movies where Zod is in like the pane of glass and he's like,
It's the Phantom. So the Phantom
Zone is the timeless void. Yes. Guilty.
So are we saying that Kryptonians are also Valar? If they're thrust in the timeless void too?
Maybe they're Numenorians.
Yeah.
Numenorians who went into outer space. I don't know. Like,
I mean, you do have a UFO essentially with Eärendil.
Eärendil, yeah. An unidentified flying object. Yeah. Or I suppose UAPs, as they call them. These
true.
days.
Identified aerial phenomenon.
Although we've identified it though, so
Right, yeah. We've just spent a whole, hour of podcast identifying it. So yeah, and I can't believe, we've done it. I forget when we started this, but we've reached the end of the proper Silmarillion.
yeah.
There's more of this book to go, but the sort of the part that the Quenta. That's right. Yeah. The Quenta ends here.
I think it was December of 23 that we started
Wow.
watching through. So
you are now leaving the Quenta Silmarillion. Please watch the gap.
Watch the gap as Balerion falls into the sea.
Por favor, mantengas alejado de las puertas.
Wait, is that a thing?
That's what
world.
that's what they say on the monorail at Disney, and
That's brilliant. Anyway,
now say it in Elvish.
and Quenya. Yeah.
okay. Fun fact: yesterday we just had a gender reveal for my 6th kid, and the godparents. We held a Hobbit theme. I wore my Secrets of Middle Earth T-shirt, and the entire he did it as a. Actually, I have it right here. Oh my goodness, it's right in front of me. I have to show you guys this. It's done in.
Oh,
It's done
our
in-
listeners can't see, but it's
Post it on the
Tenwar
Discord.
script.
Yeah,
Yes.
post it on the Discord when
Yes.
this episode comes
Yeah.
out.
Will do. And
Yeah.
and we had to translate it because I couldn't. I don't have it memorized. So we had to translate it into Elvish and then translate that into English.
To the common
English.
tongue.
So that was
Westron.
awesome.
But
Did y'all have the cookies? The Tuor
We did
and the
not
cookies
have
of
the
Turin?
cookies. No,
Oh.
Wow.
no Turin or the Tuar cookies, but it was awesome. It really was. So, and we're having a boy, by the way.
Okay, that's what I thought it
okay.
said. I wasn't absolutely certain. It's the boy.
It's a boy. Yep, exactly.
Named Feanor Leonardi. Oh wait,
No, do not. Do not pass go. Do not collect $200. That does not.
Yep.
Yeah, congratulations, Rob. That is great. But before we do all of our wrap up stuff, our bard in residence, Patrick Mason, has another. I hope you will indulge us, listeners. We have another poem for you, written by our very own Patrick Mason.
The doom. Doom, 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 doom. The drums ring out. The drums ring out. And now the doom comes running fast. Down the path of Sirion, Morgoth's fingers running long. To take, to hold, and to grasp. The curse accomplished, the doom prevailed. Nagathron a smoking heap. Doriath a withered ruin. And Gondolin a blasted pile. The house of Hador shattered hard. Caught with the failing Noldor's pride. Elf and man and dwarf alike, consumed by anger and by grief, consumed in fire and in blood. Doom, 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 the drums ring out, the drums ring out. A horn blast now upon the bay of Valar, one final deed to save the remnants of the Eldar. Eärendil sets out for western shores, the last hope of Middle-earth, to raise the aid of Valar far off in Valinor. Doom, 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 the havens beset, the oath at work, Elwing cast into the sea, her children captured by treachery. The kin are slain and slain again, Maedhros and Maglor remain, the Silmaril lost in the waves. Círdan and Gil-galad are all that remains. A swift wind strikes up, birds' wings fan out, Elwing flies to her love, alone on the sea of shadow no more. He turns back now, the light of the trees upon his brow, to find the shores of Valinor. But can a single man convince the gods, or mayhaps the son of elfin man, bridegroom to a half-elven queen, who bears the Maiar within her blood? Can they convince the Valar to come, to pity them with the world undone? Boom, 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 the voice of the Valar ring out. The laughter and the shout, the horn blasts approach, the baying of the hounds, the Vanyar have come. Boom, 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 boom. Now for wrath and now for ruin. The orcs cast down an elven flame, the dragons boil up from the depths below. The mighty eagles all fly in, and Calagon the Black comes in a storm. Eärendil's ship strikes the blow, and Tulkas bursts through the iron hells, and dragged up screaming the ancient foe. Bound and tied, no mercy now. Melkor, Morgoth, Boglir, the fallen Valar, cast out of Arda, into the gates of night, into the outer darkness, chained and collared of Valar no more. And so ends fair Beleriand. The sea came rushing in upon the world, the mountains leveled, the valleys raised. The rivers overrun and the cities drowned. The elves seek the western shore. Mercy greets their return. All but Maedhros, whose burning hand, clutching a Silmaril, cast himself into a fiery land. And Maglor, who can bear the weight no more, casts his Silmaril into the deep, and now walks alone along the shore, weeping for the lost Silmarils forevermore.
Wow. Who did it better, Bilbo or Pat?
Yeah. You'll be beating Mr. Bilbo next, as Samwise once said.
Thank you.
Yes.
No, and in your poem you mentioned dwarves, and I was just wondering, like, what were the dwarves up to during all of this? Did they?
Yeah, it doesn't really mention them. Yeah,
they probably were running away from Beleriand, hopefully, and were still alive.
Because their two major cities get destroyed in the course of this. Novgorod and Belegost.
Yep.
Yeah,
I mean, they have to be
left. But.
They have to be doing something where they're just totally distracted that these Balrogs are able to dig down deep into their mountain.
Oh, we gotta call the fumigator. We got a Balrog problem.
We're just going to totally ignore that giant thing that just buried down deep below us. Let's get digging.
It's like that. It's like when you get a raccoon in your attic. You know, it's like I can hear it up there. You know,
or any pest. Trust me, you don't. Having gone through a lot of that this year, you don't. You don't want Balrogs, much less you don't want Balrogs in your attic or anywhere in your house.
Oh yeah.
Sorry. Extermination service.
Gandalf's extermination services. Balrog extermination.
Balrog extermination. You shall not pass.
We wield the flame of honor, so you don't have to. But anyway, we still have the Akalabeth to get through, which will have to be in at least 2 parts because the Akalabeth is long. Maybe not as long as of Turin Turambar, but it's pretty hefty.
Well, when you combine it with the Rings of Power in the Third Age,
can we actually do that without it being like tremendous?
I think
episode?
so. I think we could.
Okay.
I think we probably could do the Akalabeth up until the the Numenor's destroyed, and then combine the rest with Rings of Power. I think, but yeah.
So there is still a bit of this book to get through, but we want to thank all our listeners for enduring our madness, getting through all this stuff. But it's been a blast.
We're just doomed.
We're just doomed. Yeah. Yeah. But actually, next up is our Halloween episode.
Yeah.
So more kind of doom, where we'll be talking about the undead of Middle-earth. Yeah. Wait, is Gollum undead?
Kind of.
I mean, you decide. Tell us in the Discord. Is Gollum undead? So
Bring back from the dead. It's not a pretty picture. I don't like doing it.
But we do have some feedback on our last couple episodes, right, Jeff?
Yeah, just got a little bit. So on our episode on the Hobbit Unexpected Journey, we had Tammy, our friend Tammy, said, "I cannot download this episode fast enough." so I don't know if she did listen, and but Tammy, if you're listening, let us know what you thought of our episode.
What was your favorite time that Pat sighed heavily?
Let us know at skpn.com.
It was probably when we talked about the dwarf and elf relationship.
Yeah.
There it is. That counts as our reference. Checks in the mail.
Cha-ching. Yeah, there we go.
And then we had Tom Grellinger said, "My daughter and I watched the extended editions of the Hobbit movies within the last month or so. She had read The Hobbit and was interested in the movies, as she had never seen them. I had seen them maybe twice, but never seen the extended editions."
Mm.
And then Darankatar, sorry if I'm saying your username wrong. These are all from Discord, by the way. Rockantar said, "Slightly unrelated, I also haven't caught up on this series yet. Has anyone seen the book accurate fan cuts of the Hobbit movies? And what do you think?"
I've not seen them. I've heard they exist, but I've not seen them.
Where would you go to get those? I guess it would be just a script of where to skip.
Yeah, and that's, and our next comment I think refers to that. We had Eladir said, "I personally prefer the maple cut, and that's what we use for our annual ranger party." And when I did look it up, and it looks like they do. There's like a website for it where it basically tells you like where to pause and then skip. And I think it cuts the trilogy down to like a 4-hour movie, because when you cut out a lot of stuff, a lot of the extra stuff that they made up to make it 3 movies.
You mean like dwarf and elf relationships?
Yeah. Exactly.
We already got the reference in this episode.
No double dipping. Yeah.
And then on our episode on Tuor and Gondolin, Tammy said, "I love that we have the cookies that aren't filled with doom." So, yeah, we still haven't heard if anyone's made and tried the cookies. So if you have, let us know. But yeah, that's the feedback we got.
All right. And that will be it for this episode of The Secrets of Middle-earth. But before we go, we'd like to take a moment to thank all our patrons who make this show possible, including Patrick D., Patrick O., John G., Liz D., and Michael B. Their generous donations help us to continue to create The Secrets of Middle-earth and all the shows here at StarQuest, and you can join them at sqpn.com/give. And of course, we'd love to hear from you, our listeners. What did you think about the Voyage of Eärendil and anything else in the Silmarillion? You can let us know. Did you try either of Rob's cookie recipes for Turin or Tuor? Let us know on our Facebook page, on Twitter. You can send us an email to middleearth@sqpn.com. You can comment on the YouTube version of this podcast or on Spotify Or you can visit the channel on our StarQuest Discord community at sqpn.com/Discord. Until next time, Rob Leonardi, thank you for joining me and sharing the secrets of Middle-earth.
You're welcome. And here ends the Silmarillion. If it has passed from the high and the beautiful to darkness and ruin, that was of old the fate of Arda Mar. And if any change shall come and the marring be amended, Manwë and Varda may know. But they have not revealed it, and it is not declared in the dooms of Mandos.
Does Bilbo know how to end a book or what? And Jeff Haecker, thank you for joining us.
Thanks, Thomas.
And thank you for joining us, Patrick Mason.
Oh, you're very welcome. Thanks for having me on.
And once again, I'm Thomas Salerno. Thank you for joining us on the Secrets of Middle-earth on StarQuest.
Here's another show on the StarQuest Network you're sure to enjoy. Jimmy Akin's Mysterious World. Find the show wherever fine podcasts are found or at sqpn.com/mysterious.